Hey everyone, it's me. I was just gonna try to make one more video. I know one got posted earlier today. But anyways, first of all, I want to tell you that the dinner I made last night, if you watched that video, it wasn't what I don't know, it wasn't as good as I thought it was gonna be. It was basically beef tips, and I put it over rice, and then I used the balsamic vinegar stuff. I didn't care for it. I kind of got nauseated with the taste of everything mixed together. Nothing like getting sick from your own cooking, but these are new recipes, so I don't expect everyone to be perfect. Plus, I'm not a big fan of beef tips, anyways. Um, it kind of depends. Again, I've mentioned I'm picky. Um, so my day has been insane already. You know me. My life is always blowing up somehow, some way. Um, so my son came home after school yesterday and slept all evening. I didn't know until later that he was sleeping, so I didn't know. Um, so he slept all evening, which guess what that means? He was up all night. Um, I apologize if you see my nose here. I was sitting today because I debated to send him to school. I did not send him to school. I let him sleep so that he could be back on schedule tonight. Because he would have gone to school and slept, and then I would have gotten emails and phone calls from his teachers about that. Anyway, so um, I was sitting here this morning and I sneezed. Anyways, long story short, I ended up with a bloody nose. So if you see anything, I apologize. I haven't had a bloody nose since last year, and I do get them. I've always gotten them on and off throughout my life. But I know in the last few years, like right before spring, I get them a lot. And, or like when it's spring, like turning to spring. And, believe me, the weather is not spring, but something, I guess, is saying it's supposed to be spring, maybe. I don't know. Not really, but you know what I mean. So yeah, that was horrible. I was like, nothing like sneezing so hard that you give yourself a bloody nose, right? So I apologize if you do see anything. So that was kind of how my day started today, and it's just, I've kind of tried to take it easy. I have so much to do. You guys know me. My job is never done. I did get a load of towels, which was the last load, but because I'm so short, it's hard for me to reach down in the washer. Yeah, that's not a joke, people. And so I don't want to put pressure like where my nose starts bleeding again, so I'm going to wait until my husband comes home, have him put it in the dryer for me. Um, when I grew up, and maybe you guys too, that's when they used to tell you put your head back when you had a bloody nose. And yeah, you would feel like going down your throat and want to vomit, right? And so now they say tilt your head forward and pinch the bridge of your nose. Well, I didn't remember tilt your head forward, but upright. And I pinched it. And then it does say you can also get an ice pack and put on the bridge of your nose. So I did that. Yeah, I still got a little nauseated, but not like I used to, putting my head back. So I am sitting here right now watching a movie. Um, just trying to take it easy right now. Um, but yeah, I wanted to update you, one, about the dinner last night, to tell you just how my morning slash afternoon has been going. It has not been the best. I'm having a lot of intestinal problems on top of that, so I always feel nauseated. Um, and then I did talk to my mom early today, and I don't know how that went. They didn't tell me if they checked her for a UTI, because I don't really get to talk to like the nurses and everybody when I call. Somebody does answer the phone, but they give the phone right to my mom. But today when I talked to her, she and I were talking, and she still thinks she lives in Florida. Um, she thinks she's alone, considering there's tons of people around her at all times. She brought up a friend of hers who we haven't talked to for many years. I can't talk. Which was really weird because this friend had passed away, I don't know, maybe 7 years ago, possibly. Um, yeah, I want to say about maybe 7 years ago, 7, 8 years ago. And at one point, they were best friends in their lives. And she thought that she was traveling with her, and that the nurse told her that she had a UTI. Anyways, it was all this, and of course, I'm the type of person that if my face doesn't say it with my expressions, then my voice does, if you know me very well. And so she obviously picked up on that. And I said, they told who? And she said the woman's name, and I said, uh-huh. And so she's like, why is that weird, or something like that. And so, again, they tell you not to correct patients, just go along with it. And usually I do, sometimes I don't, just because I do know sometimes my mom is still there, a little of her, and some of her understanding of me is still there at times. And so obviously, or she wouldn't have picked that up, that I was kind of like, okay. And I said, well, Mom, I said, she's been, if you remember, she is no longer with us. She passed away a few years ago, and I reminded her of what, and I said, and you guys had a fight, and you guys hadn't talked for years. And then my mom started, it's like if you remind her a lot of times, she will remember. Because she'll be like, well, that does sound familiar. Or, now that you say that, yeah. So that is weird that I'm saying this stuff, So, that's kind of what happened today. And I said, I even reminded my mom that the woman's mom had passed away not that many years ago. Actually. And she's like, yeah, you're right. So she did put it together. She said, because I told you guys that I don't think was remembering who I was on the phone. And she said, so when I talked to her on the phone, I'm really talking to you. And I said, well, if that's who you think I am, then yes, I said, I'm the only one that calls you. Out of, no one else calls her on the phone. My kids don't, nobody takes the time. I'm the only one. So, so she's like, so then she didn't flip out unless it was after I talked to her. Oh, she wouldn't eat, supposedly, she didn't eat breakfast or lunch because they were foods that would give her diarrhea. And I think I've said to you guys, she has IBS. So if you're familiar with IBS, then you understand. You don't always know what sets it off. And if you remember in the beginning, she was very obsessed with being constipated and having diarrhea. She can go either or. And I also have the same problem, so that's why I say I have intestine problems. It's not fun to live with because they're really, unless you know what sets it off, which everything can. Uh, Anyways, so I'm like, I don't think you're not eating because when I'm there, you eat very well. But she was like, well, I can't eat that stuff because I can't have diarrhea in the car because she thinks she's getting ready to travel back to Florida. Anyway, so after talking to her today, she did get a little upset. And I said, well, she said, I'm just really confused lately. And I said, yes, I have noticed. And that's why I think you have a UTI. And that's why I asked them to check. And she said, you don't think it's from just getting old age? And I'm like, no, I think this part is from having a UTI. I'm pretty sure you have one. So I think that made her feel a little better. Because in her mind, thinking she's crazy versus having a UTI. And one of the things is that my mom, when I was growing up, she was a nurse. And when I say a nurse, I mean like back in the day, the white dresses or the white outfits with the white hats. Nurse. She was bosses at times. She was, under a boss. Like, she was really popular. I will say, as a nurse, she did have hospitals fighting over her at sometimes. But she had also worked in nursing homes when I was growing up. And the problem with that for me, we all have that trauma that I told you, childhood trauma, which one of my childhood traumas is going to the nursing home, like after school, and having to sit there or be in the waiting room until, or not waiting room, but like nurse's room, until she got off work. And me not understanding older people at that time because I was so young, and understanding, hey, their mind is broken basically. And if you've ever been to a nursing home, which we all, I would assume, have, some of them think they're having babies and that they're in labor. And especially when you're a little kid, they love little kids and they want to grab at them and pinch their cheeks and, touch them. And that scared me and traumatized me growing up. And so I've had a very, very hard time going into nursing homes since I've been an adult. We had a cousin who my grandma wanted to go see. She was in a nursing home. The smell, the everything just was gross. And I did go in. I was very proud of myself. I did not stay in long. I had to go to the car. The nursing home that my grandma was in, thankfully, they had a meeting room by the front door that they would bring my grandma in there with my whole family because there would be 10 or 12 of us. And so I've only gone to my grandma's room once when I went in to see her. And I'm glad I did because that was the last time I saw her. My mom's nursing home that she's in, I have to say it doesn't remind you of a nursing home at all. And it doesn't smell like a nursing home, which I'm very thankful for. Now, I'm not saying that sometimes you don't smell pee smell or, BM or however you guys want to say. I'm trying to be proper for you. Smells, once in a while from somebody in the room, but typically it doesn't smell like a nursing home. And so this place doesn't bother me at all. I'm not saying that the people who live there, don't always understand. Like I said, when I took the donuts, they didn't understand. that I was there to see my mom, and these weren't for them. They just saw someone. I don't even know if they knew it was food. This was something. And so that gets tiresome. I mean, not tiresome, but it's difficult for me to feel like I can take my mom's stuff without other people, But yeah. So I've been very blessed with her nursing home, I will say. But yes, I have trauma still from nursing homes. That if it wasn't for my mom, not sure I would have been able to walk into a nursing home until it was my time, if I make it that far. Oh, I know. Well, before I got off the phone with my mom, she said, "This is why I need you here. I need you here," because obviously she trusts me. She's like, "Well, she's like, "I need you. Is there any way we can get two apartments next to each other side by side and we live in like next door to each other?" That was hard. And I don't know what will happen to my mom or when. Um, I was, and I know like sooner or later I'm gonna have to look up when something happens to her. You know, if it happens, you know. Anyways, and I don't know if I can do that. Oh my gosh, I don't know if I can like call places to. I don't want to sound depressing. But I don't want to do all that stuff like when I know something's about to happen to her or is going to happen to her. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, so anyways, let's get off that subject. Anyways, um, so yeah, so that's been my day so far. Um, and yes, my son is up. I made sure, I made lunch and then, got everybody up because my oldest seems to sleep like he doesn't have a life too. So everybody is up. And that's about my day. Nothing exciting. Well, I mean, it was exciting this morning, but that's about it. Anyways, I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Have a great day. Bye.